Okay, I continue my reading of Mill's Phenomenalism. The first video would be good to watch first. I'm going to pick up at the beginning of the paragraph that I ended with. There is another important peculiarity of these certified or guaranteed possibilities of sensation. He's talking about what we call physical objects. Namely, they have reference not to single sensations, but to sensations joined together in groups. So, for instance, an ice cube. If you touch it, it is cold. If you look at it, it's going to be kind of a gray, shiny, wet-looking thing with that typical ice cube shape. If you make the ice cubes with that typical plastic holder that you put in your freezer. When we think of anything as a material substance or body, we either have had, or we think that on some given supposition we should have, not some one sensation, but a great and even indefinite number and variety of sensations, generally belonging to different senses, like the ice cube, right? It's cold to the touch and it looks, shiny and gray to the eye, but so linked together that the presence of one announces the possible presence at the very same instant of any or all of the rest. So if you close your eyes and someone puts an ice cube in your hand, I think you will recognize it as an ice cube, and you expect, when you open your eyes, to see that shiny gray color of the ice cube. In our mind, therefore, not only is this particular possibility of sensation invested with the quality of permanence, when we are not actually feeling any of the sensations at all, but when we are feeling some of them, the remaining sensations of the group are conceived by us in the form of present possibilities, which might be realized at the very moment. And as this happens in turn to all of them, the group as a whole presents itself to the mind as permanent, in contrast not solely with the temporariness of my bodily presence, but also with the temporary character of each of the sensations composing the group. In other words, as a kind of permanent substratum under a set of passing experiences or manifestations, which is another leading character of our idea of substance or matter as distinguished from sensation. So if we think of the ice cube again, if I see the ice cube, I think that it would also be cold to the touch, even if I'm not currently touching it. If I touch an ice cube with my eyes closed, I think that I can open my eyes and see the ice cube look the way that they tend to look. So it's not only that the ice cube is a kind of substratum, because I could leave the room altogether, it's also because the ice cube can manifest itself in a partial way. Maybe I only touch it. Or maybe a blind person has an experience of ice cubes, but lacks that visual experience. Okay, so now he's going to talk about cause and effect. Let us now take into consideration another of the general characters of our experience. Namely that in addition to fixed groups, these objects as groups of sensations that are possible, we also recognize a fixed order in our sensations, an order of succession, and this would be the linear structure of the stream of experience, which, when ascertained by observation, gives rise to the ideas of cause and effect, according to what I hold to be the true theory of that relation, and is on any theory the source of all of our knowledge. What cause produces what effects. Now, of what nature is this fixed order among our sensations? It is a constancy of antecedents and sequence. But the constant antecedents and sequence do not generally exist between one actual sensation and another. Very few such sequences are presented to us by experience. In almost all the constant sequences which occur in nature, the antecedents and consequence do not obtain between sensations, but between the groups we have been speaking about, of which a very small portion is actual sensation, the greater part being permanent possibilities of sensation, evidenced to us by a small and variable number of sensations actually present. Hence, our ideas of causation, power, activity do not become connected in thought with our sensations as actual at all, save in the few physiological cases where these figure by themselves as the antecedents in some uniform sequence. Those ideas become connected not with sensations, but with groups of possibilities of sensations. The sensations conceived do not, to our habitual thoughts, present themselves as sensations actually experienced, inasmuch as not only any one or any number of them may be supposed absent, but none of them need be present. We find that the modifications which are taking place more or less regularly in our possibilities of sensation are mostly quite independent of our consciousness and of our presence or absence. So let me bring this down to earth, right? If you leave some water boiling on the stove and you forget about it, it's all going to turn to steam in your absence. Now, when you go to see the pot of water, you can see it from this side or that side, or let's say you're blind and you feel it with your hands, and you set the whole situation up with your hands and you don't see it, but you can feel the shape of the pot and you can hear the water pouring out of the faucet and so on. So the actual sensations that manifest the situation, that manifest the possibilities, and in these possibilities, these are material or physical objects, right? They are more like the possibility of sensation, and they take on a certain independence in our thought. In our reasoning about the world, we kind of operate at the level of these complex possibilities of sensation, and we operate at the level of the cause and effect relationship between these, which you might call synthesized objects. The hot burner will cause the water in the pot to boil and evaporate. We don't have to be around for this. Someone can tell us the story. We don't have to have any direct sensation of this. Whether we are asleep or awake, the fire goes out and puts an end to one particular possibility of warmth and light. Whether we are present or absent, the corn ripens and brings a new possibility of food. Hence, we speedily learn to think of nature as made up solely of these groups of possibilities, and the active force in nature as manifested in the modification of some of these by others. The sensations, though the original foundation of the whole, come to be looked upon as a sort of accident depending on us, and the possibilities as much more real than the actual sensations, nay, as the very realities of which these are only the representations, appearances, or effects. So this to me is brilliant. He is explaining how a dualistic theory could evolve, how we could have been confused into separating objects from their manifestation and sort of projecting this mystified concept of matter, right? So phenomenalism is a critical, skeptical, demystifying immaterialism, a negation of materialism, but not at all, not in the least, a negation of the transcendence of objects, of the world of physical objects. This is very much a real world, but the object is not hidden behind its manifestation. It's more of like the open interpersonal system of such manifestations.